Belgian Malinois is considered a highly trainable breed, and I have a lot of fun working with my dogs, but I also still have a lot to learn. And if you're like me, I bet you've spent some time online watching training videos. But I also bet you've wondered if the information you're getting is coming from someone who has the knowledge and experience that you'd expect. So let me help you make the right decision when it comes to watching online dog training courses, because they are not all created equal. Robert Cabral is one of the most highly respected dog trainers in the world. If you haven't heard his name, it's quite possible you've been living under a rock. Robert is an uncontested authority on canine behavior, whether it be in basic obedience, pet dog training, aggression, complex behaviors, and more. He has trained entitled competitive obedience and protection dogs in AKC, Mondio Ring, and Schutzhund. Robert has worked with most every breed and temperament of dog. So make sure you check out his website and use the code MaligatorMom to access what is the only online dog training videos that I recommend. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, MaligatorMom, and today we are going to be talking about training treats. So I'm actually going to share with you what my top 4 go-to training treats are with my dogs. So I'm actually going to break down all these treats into sharing the effective treats all the way up to the most effective treats. So down on the bottom of the list is going to come in hot dogs. So I know that a lot of people might find this controversial because, as we know, hot dogs are not the most healthy option for your dog, but I actually care a little bit less about the nutrition behind a treat. If I'm working with a dog who I really am struggling with to find something that they're interested in, to find something that they really like, I am willing to give my dog a less healthy option if they are viewing that as a really high value reward. Now, if these are good enough for you and I to eat, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, these are good enough for my dogs. Now, these are about 99 cents a pack, and they're available at any grocery store, so they're a very affordable option. But like I said, these are not the most healthy or nutritious option either. These have about 9 grams of fat in one hot dog and 430 milligrams of sodium. So they're not really that healthy, but you can't argue that most dogs love these hot dogs. They're just a fantastic treat. Now, there are some drawbacks to these. One thing that I don't like about using hot dogs, aside from the bad nutrition, is the fact that they're just slimy and gooey. They're not really easy to work with in that way because they're so slimy. They do have to be kept refrigerated, and out here in the South in the summertime, that's actually really hard to do. So for those reasons, these do not rank on the top of my list. So next up on the ladder of effectiveness is going to be the Happy Howie's beef sausage roll. Now, this is a pretty affordable option as well. You can get these for about $6 to $7 a roll. My dogs really enjoy the beef flavor in particular. They do have some other flavors. I know they have a turkey flavor. My dogs don't really like that one at all. They'll actually turn up their nose to that flavor. So it might be some trial and error for you to figure out which flavor your dog likes the best. But this is a great option because, unlike hot dogs, this does not get slimy. I really like that this doesn't fall apart like other sausage treats that we know. And you don't have to refrigerate this either before you open it. So this is also a really great option. So moving on to the second most effective dog treat that I've used, and that's just gonna be prepared diced chicken or cubed chicken. And you can get this typically at your local grocery store. I buy just this off-brand from my local grocery store, and this is a pound, and I pay about $7 for this. So this is obviously a little bit healthier than the hot dogs and sausage options. It's not nearly as fatty, it doesn't have so much salt in it, so it's definitely a more nutritious option, and my dogs always go crazy for chicken. And finally, we have the creme de la creme of treats. This is freeze-dried beef liver from Munster Milling. And this is a treat that my dogs have never, ever turned their nose up to. So this is probably what my dogs consider their most high value reward. So I break this out anytime I want the most focus I could possibly get from my dogs, because that's what they're gonna give me when they see this really high value reward. So I'll bring this out when I'm doing things like teaching a new behavior, for example, and I want the most focus from my dog. So this is actually the healthiest option that I've talked about today as well. This is made out of 100% beef organ, and as we know, dogs need organ meat as part of a healthy diet. So if you're worried about nutrition and that's high on your list, then this is also a really great option. But I will say that the benefits to this outweigh all of the other options that I talked about for several reasons, not just nutrition. You also have to consider the fact that because this is a freeze-dried organ meat, you don't have to refrigerate this, right? This can sit out on your counter. This can be stuffed down in your training pockets, and it stays good for a really long time. So you don't have to worry about refrigeration. You don't have to worry about this treat falling apart or getting slimy when you're working with it. So the workability of a treat is just as important. It's just as important. In fact, I would consider it the most important thing. If the size is wrong, if the texture is wrong, it's really gonna work against you. So you really do need to make that a priority when you're considering what treats you wanna work with. So these are right around $12 or so a can. And you do get 5 ounces, which is a little deceiving because the can is actually pretty big, and I would say that there are easily, you know, over 100, maybe even 200 treats in a jar. So just because there's only 5 ounces, don't let that fool you. This is a very, very lightweight freeze-dried piece of meat. So again, these are about $12, $12.50, depending on if you can catch them on sale or not. And of course, if you use my code MaligatorMom35, then that's always gonna help you out at checkout as well. So if you are looking for the best training treat out there, it really is going to be these freeze-dried beef liver treats. Not only is this a great option if you're worried about health and nutrition for your dog, but it has the best workability out of anything that I mentioned here today. So make sure that you head over to munstermilling.com and check out their beef liver treats. You can always use my code MaligatorMom35. That'll help save you a little money when you check out. And check out their other stuff there too. You know, I also feed Munster Milling food to my dogs. And I feed this food because they offer the option to customize your mix. So Riot's recipe right now, if you're interested, I add things like salmon oil, bacon fat, because that really helps with the palatability of the food. It makes him just salivate over the food. I know it's because of the bacon fat that I'm adding. And then I also add freeze-dried elk and a probiotic to his kibble. And they actually mix this fresh and then ship it straight to my door because they have an auto ship feature. So again, if you guys are interested in Munster Milling, I can't say enough wonderful things about them. I really do enjoy their products. I think that it's the best thing out there on the market, you know, just in my experience, and I have tried a lot of foods. I have had issues I've had to overcome. I've had Riot, who is a Malinois, who had a very sensitive stomach, who was a very picky eater. He would throw up bile every single morning. All of that stopped. All of that went away when I switched over to Munster products. And then I also had to deal with Storm, who was a puppy that came to me with absolutely no food drive. And that was a completely foreign concept to me for a Malinois puppy. I really had thrown my hands up at one point and wasn't sure what to do. And then I come across Munster, and these beef liver treats really turn things around for her as well. So again, in my experience working with Munster Milling and their products, they are just the best that you can get out there on the market. So if you are interested, again, head over to Munster Milling and check them out.